This audiobook is a sacred memory. The Codex of Mirrors reveals the ancient truth that your reality is a perfect reflection of your inner world. As you awaken, you'll see that every moment, every person, every challenge is simply a mirror of your frequency. Change within and the world changes with you. The Codex of Living Energy. Introduction. In your hands rests an artifact of awakening, not merely ink on paper, but a living transmission of wisdom that has echoed through the chambers of time. This codex emerges not from scholarly study or modern innovation, but from the timeless realm where all truth resides. As you turn these chapters, you step into a stream of knowledge that has flowed through the ages, waiting for the moment when you would be ready to receive it. The wisdom contained here speaks the language of your soul, resonating with what you have always known but perhaps forgotten. This is no ordinary book of instruction. It is a mirror reflecting the infinite potential that already exists within you. Through its teachings, you will remember that you are not separate from the universe but intimately woven into its fabric. Your thoughts, your feelings, your very essence, all are threads in the grand tapestry of existence. The principles revealed here have guided masters and mystics throughout history. They speak of a profound truth, that all things are connected through invisible threads of energy, forming a living network of infinite possibility. This understanding transcends mere theory. It is the foundation upon which reality itself is built. Each chapter will guide you deeper into this ancient knowing, building upon itself like the layers of a sacred mandala. Through stories passed down by the wise ones, through practices that have transformed countless lives, and through revelations that will stir your soul's deepest memories, you will discover the power that has always been yours. You need not strain to grasp these teachings. Let them wash over you like waves upon the shore. The understanding you seek will arise naturally, as surely as dawn follows night. For in truth, you are not learning something new. You are remembering what your spirit has always known. The time of awakening is now. The Codex has found its way to you because you are ready to remember. Part 1. The Awakening Current. Chapter 1. The Mirror in the Mist. In a village where mist clung perpetually to ancient stone walls, Walter lived alone in a cottage at the edge of the woods. For 30 years, he had spoken to no one, seeing only shadows of what his life might have been. One morning, while clearing his overgrown garden, his spade struck something solid. Unearthing it, he found an ornate mirror, its frame adorned with symbols he did not recognize. When Walter gazed into the glass, he saw not his weathered face and gray hair, but a version of himself, radiant with joy, surrounded by friends, teaching others from his wealth of knowledge. Each day, he returned to the mirror, and each time it showed him not what he was, but what he could become. Gradually, he understood. The mirror reflected not his physical form, but the light within his soul, waiting to shine forth. The universe operates much like Walter's mirror, reflecting back the energy you emanate. Every circumstance, every relationship, every opportunity or challenge manifests as a precise reflection of your internal frequency. This is not magic, but the fundamental law of vibrational resonance that governs all creation. When you walk through life unconscious of this principle, you may feel like a victim of circumstance. Yet once you awaken to this truth, you recognize that your external reality serves as an exact mirror of your internal state. Your beliefs shape the lens through which you perceive, your emotions create the energetic field you broadcast, and your deepest expectations from the template that reality fills. In a distant city lived Clara, whose heart had been shattered by the loss of her beloved husband. For 2 years, she saw only darkness in the world, cruel twists of fate, broken dreams, and endless sorrow. The streets seemed grayer, faces less friendly. Even flowers appeared to have lost their vibrancy. One dawn, sitting in her garden, Clara finally allowed herself to feel the full depth of her grief without resistance. As tears flowed freely, something shifted within. She realized her husband would want her to embrace life again. In that moment of acceptance, the morning light suddenly appeared more golden, the birdsong sweeter. Day by day, as her heart began to heal, the world itself seemed to brighten in response. Clara's journey reveals how the universe never punishes or rewards. It simply reflects with perfect accuracy the frequency we embody. When we heal within, the world transforms without. To begin working with this principle, practice the mirror ritual each morning. Stand before a mirror in a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Allow yourself to settle into stillness, breathing deeply and consciously. Look deeply into your own eyes, not just at their surface, but into their depths where your eternal spirit dwells. Speak aloud an affirmation that embodies the frequency you wish to emanate, letting the words resonate through your entire being. For example, I am pure light, radiating love and abundance. The universe reflects back to me the beauty I hold within. As you speak these words, feel their truth vibrating in every cell. This sacred practice, passed down through generations of mystics, helps align your inner frequency with the infinite power of universal reflection. Chapter 2. The Seed of Entanglement. In the remote hills where ancient pines whisper secrets to the wind, there lived an inventor named Eli. Each year on the winter solstice, beneath the sprawling oak tree in his garden, he would carefully place a crystal into the earth. This ritual, he believed, created an unbreakable connection between his consciousness and the cosmic web of existence. You see, Eli understood what quantum physics now confirms. Everything in the universe exists in a state of interconnection. Your thoughts, your dreams, your deepest intentions are not confined within the boundaries of your physical form. They ripple outward through the quantum field, creating patterns of energy that influence the very fabric of reality. Just as a crystal buried in the earth continues to pulse with its unique frequency, your consciousness broadcasts ceaselessly into the universe. Every thought you hold, every emotion you nurture, every intention you plant acts as a living seed in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. Through the mystery of quantum entanglement, these seeds attract and interact with energies that match their frequency. Think of your consciousness as a transmitter, constantly sending signals into the vast cosmic network. When you understand this principle, you recognize that no thought is truly private, no intention truly isolated. The universe responds not just to your words or actions, but to the energetic signature of your being. In a small coastal town, Ruth discovered this truth through an unexpected practice. Every full moon, she wrote letters addressed to her future self, describing in vivid detail the life she would one day live. She wrote of the healing center she would establish, the lives she would touch, the love she would find. These weren't mere wishes. Ruth imbued each word with absolute certainty, as if she were simply documenting what had already come to pass. She stored these letters in an old wooden box, believing that somehow, across time and space, her future self was reading them. 5 years later, Ruth stood in the entrance of her newly opened healing center, every detail matching what she had written: the garden layout, the color of the walls, even the wind chimes by the door. All had manifested exactly as she had envisioned. Through quantum entanglement, Ruth had created a bridge between her present and future reality. Her unwavering belief and crystal-clear vision had set in motion forces beyond ordinary understanding. To work with this principle of quantum manifestation, find a quiet moment to write a letter from your future self. Describe in rich detail the life you are living, the person you have become, the dreams you have realized. Write with the certainty of one who knows these things are already accomplished. Place this letter in a special box or bury it in a meaningful location, knowing that through the mystery of quantum entanglement, you have planted a seed that must grow into reality. Chapter 3: The Law of Vibrational Echo. In the mist-laden valleys where ancient wisdom still lingers, there lived a musician named Margaret. Unlike other musicians who sought the approval of human audiences, she played melodies that resonated beyond the realm of ordinary perception. Her instrument, crafted from crystal and moonlight, produced frequencies that only animals could detect. You must understand that Margaret's story mirrors a fundamental truth about the universe. Everything vibrates at specific frequencies, and like attracts like. As she played her ethereal music, creatures from far and wide would gather, drawn by vibrations that matched their own natural resonance. Birds would spiral down from impossible heights, deer would emerge from shadowy forests, and even the smallest field mice would pause their endless gathering to listen. The law of vibrational echo governs all existence. Every thought you release, every word you speak, every emotion you harbor sends ripples through the quantum field. These vibrations do not dissipate into nothingness. They return to you amplified, carrying matching experiences, opportunities, and circumstances. When you exist in a state of joy, you broadcast joy frequencies into the universe. When you maintain gratitude, you emit gratitude frequencies. These are not mere emotional states. They are energetic signatures that the universe must echo back to you through the law of resonance. Consider Sam, who worked in the steel factory where machinery drowned out all gentle sounds. Yet amid the industrial chaos, he hummed melodies of joy, his heart light despite the heavy labor. At first, nothing seemed to change, but gradually, like notes finding their way home, his life began to shift. A promotion appeared unexpectedly. A chance encounter led to a beneficial partnership. Small windfalls arrived like perfectly timed musical phrases. The universe was simply echoing back Sam's frequency. His persistent joy, maintained despite circumstances, created a vibrational signature that reality had to match. This is not coincidence, it is cosmic law. To harness this principle, each morning when the world is still, find a quiet space. Close your eyes and begin to hum or sing a single tone. Let this tone embody the emotional frequency you wish to attract. Perhaps the deep resonance of abundance, the light notes of joy, or the steady vibration of peace. Hold this tone for several minutes, feeling it penetrate every cell of your being. This is not merely sound. It is your energetic signature being broadcast into the infinite field of possibility. Remember, the echo you receive will match the vibration you maintain. Choose your frequency wisely, for the universe knows no other law but resonance. Like a tuning fork that causes another to vibrate in perfect harmony, your energetic signature ripples through the cosmic fabric, drawing to you experiences that match your inner song. This is why masters throughout the ages have taught that your state of being, not merely your thoughts or words, determines what manifests in your life. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to who you are. Chapter 4: The Twin Flame of the Traveler. Let me share with you an ancient teaching about Daniel, a wanderer who had lost his way on life's winding path. Each night, He would rest beneath the stars, his heart heavy with questions about his purpose and direction. On the 7th night of his journey, as the moon cast silver threads across the sleeping earth, a figure appeared in his dreams, a woman radiating with ethereal light. "I am your echo across the veil," she spoke, her voice carrying the wisdom of ages. "Every intention you release into the universe finds its mirror in the fabric of reality. You see, this truth lies at the heart of universal law. There exists no isolated action, no solitary thought. Each vibration you send forth seeks its twin flame, its matching resonance across the dimensions of existence. Your fears attract their reflection. Your love magnetizes its equal return." In the marketplace of an ancient city lived Joanna, a merchant whose wisdom grew from understanding this sacred principle. While others traded with careful calculation, she began giving freely, a loaf of bread to the hungry, medicine to the sick, coins to those in need. She released these acts of kindness into the universal current without attachment to return. As seasons turned to years, Joanna discovered that wealth found its way to her through mysterious channels. A stranger would appear with rare spices, just as her shelves grew bare. A distant relative would remember her in their will. A lost shipment would return doubled in value. The universe had matched her energy of giving with its twin flame of receiving. This law operates with mathematical precision through the quantum threads that bind all existence. When you release an intention, be it fear or desire, love or lack, it travels across the veil seeking its energetic match. Nothing is ever truly lost. It simply transforms and returns through the eternal dance of giving and receiving. Take now 2 pieces of parchment. On one, inscribe your deepest fear. Let your hand tremble, not as you give it form in words. On the other, write your most cherished desire, infusing it with the full force of your intention. In sacred ceremony, burn the fear, watching as it transforms to ash and smoke, releasing its hold upon your spirit. Then, with reverence, bury the desire in fertile earth, entrusting it to the universal twin flame current that weaves through all existence. Through this ritual, you acknowledge the law of energetic exchange, surrendering what no longer serves while planting seeds of what you wish to manifest. Trust in the wisdom of the veil, for it ensures that every energy finds its perfect match in the fullness of time. As the smoke rises and the earth embraces your desires, know that you have set in motion forces beyond mortal comprehension. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, now weaves these intentions into the tapestry of creation, aligning circumstances and opportunities to match the frequency of your deepest yearnings. Have faith that the sacred current flows both ways. What you release creates space for what you seek to receive. Chapter 5: The Field of the Great Mind. In the mists of an ancient coastline there lived a lighthouse keeper named Howard. Night after night, he would climb the winding stairs to tend the beacon that guided ships safely to shore. The solitude of his station had taught him to listen, truly listen, to the whispers carried on the wind and waves. You, like Howard, stand at the edge of a vast ocean of consciousness. What he discovered in those fog-wrapped nights will illuminate the truth you've sensed, but perhaps never fully grasped. The universe is not an empty void, but a living, breathing intelligence that watches, responds, and communes with your every thought. As Howard maintained his nightly vigil, he began to notice something extraordinary. The fog spoke, not in human words, but in patterns of thought that resonated with his own inner dialogue. When his mind was troubled, the sea grew restless. When his heart found peace, the waters calmed. Through this communion, He learned that his thoughts were never truly private. They were constant conversations with the divine matrix, the great mind that permeates all existence. This living field of intelligence surrounds you even now, receiving and responding to every subtle shift in your consciousness. Your thoughts ripple through this field like waves across the surface of an infinite ocean. Nothing is hidden from this all-encompassing awareness. In a distant valley lived Eleanor, a weaver blind from birth, whose fingers danced across her loom, creating intricate patterns she could only see in her dreams. Night after night, complex designs would unfold in her sleep, and the next day, without fully understanding how, her hands would recreate these very patterns in thread and wool. Those who saw her work marveled at the impossible symmetry, the divine order that seemed to flow through her fingertips. Eleanor's story reveals a profound truth. When you surrender to the guidance of the great mind, your life becomes a living tapestry woven with purpose and meaning. Just as she trusted the patterns that came through her dreams, you too can align with this higher intelligence, allowing it to guide your path and manifest through your actions. The blind weaver's creations were not her own. They were manifestations of the invisible mind field, expressing itself through her willing hands. In the same way, your life can become a canvas for the divine matrix to paint its wisdom upon. Sacred practice. Each night, as the world grows quiet and the veil between realms grows thin, sit in sacred silence for 5 minutes. Empty your mind of all thoughts, your worries, your plans, your earthly concerns, and whisper with reverence to the great mind, "Guide my thoughts, shape my dreams, show me the pattern of my purpose." Keep a journal by your bedside, for in these precious moments of surrender, the universe will speak its eternal truths through you, just as it spoke through the fog to Howard and wove through Eleanor's dreams. Trust that as you practice this nightly ritual, the wisdom that flows through you will become clearer, stronger, and more profound. Like a vessel being slowly filled with divine knowledge, you will begin to recognize the subtle whispers of universal guidance in your daily life. Chapter 6. The Codex of Symbols. In a village where words flowed like water, there lived a child named Louise who spoke only in pictures. While others wove sentences from letters and sounds, she drew images in the air with her fingers, painted feelings with her eyes, and dreamed in mysterious glyphs that no sage could interpret. You too possess this sacred ability to communicate beyond words. Your subconscious mind, that vast ocean of wisdom within, speaks not through logic and reason, but through symbol and metaphor. It is the language of dreams, of intuition, of the soul itself. When Louise drew her stories in the sand, those who witnessed them felt understanding deeper than any verbal explanation could convey. A spiral meant more than journey. It carried the very essence of transformation. A circle spoke not just of wholeness, but awakened an ancient remembrance of unity within those who beheld it. This symbolic language bypasses the guardian of your conscious mind, speaking directly to the depths where true change occurs. Just as water shapes stone not through force, but through persistent flow, symbols reshape your reality through their quiet, constant communion with your deeper self. In a distant city, a sculptor named Victor found his hands moving of their own accord, carving shapes he had never seen. Day after day, mysterious symbols emerged from blocks of stone, spirals, crescents, intersecting triangles. When scholars later discovered these same symbols in ancient scrolls, Victor understood. His hands had remembered what his mind had forgotten. Your soul already knows this sacred language. It has been speaking to you through dreams, through intuitions, through the symbols that catch your eye and the patterns that call to your heart. You need only grant yourself permission to remember, to listen, to see with eyes that recognize these eternal glyphs. The symbols that surround you, in nature, in art, in your dreams, are not random. They are messages from your deeper self, keys to unlocking the wisdom you already possess. When you learn to read this language again, transformation becomes effortless, natural as water flowing downstream. Sacred practice. Find 3 symbols that resonate deeply with your journey of transformation. The first should represent where you stand now in this sacred moment. Perhaps a seed waiting to sprout, a closed door holding possibility, or a dawn sky pregnant with promise. The second should embody your desired state of being, a blooming flower reaching toward light, an open path leading to distant horizons, or soaring wings lifted by divine winds. The third must reflect your highest self, that eternal aspect of your being that exists beyond time, a mountain peak touching heaven, a radiant sun casting golden light, or a perfect circle without beginning or end. Place these symbols where you will see them daily, on your altar, your desk, or carried close to your heart. Let their silent language speak to your subconscious mind, their sacred geometry awakening ancient memories within your soul. As you pass these symbols throughout your days, pause to breathe in their essence, allowing them to remind you of the infinite wisdom that already lives within your being, waiting to guide you home to your truth. Chapter 7. Timelines Woven of Light. In a small village tucked between mountains and mist, Annie wove more than fabric at her ancient loom. With each pass of her shuttle, the threads she worked with shifted like moonlight on water, reflecting the subtle energies of her inner world. Golden threads appeared in moments of joy, deep indigos in contemplation, and vibrant crimsons when passion filled her heart. You too are weaving your reality with every breath, every thought, every feeling that passes through your being. Time is not the rigid line you have been taught to perceive. It is a tapestry of infinite possibilities, each thread a potential timeline, waiting to be chosen through the power of your conscious attention. As Annie worked, she discovered that her emotional state determined not just the color of her threads, but the very fabric of her reality. When she stitched with hope, opportunities appeared like golden flowers in her path. When fear guided her hands, shadows seemed to gather in the corners of her life. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the energetic signature you emit in each moment. Your present state of being acts as a cosmic needle, threading you through the timeline that matches your frequency. In a distant city, Calvin lived the same day repeatedly, a loop of frustration and missed opportunities. Each morning brought the same encounters, the same disappointments, until he realized one truth. His belief in limitation was the thread binding him to this reality. The moment he changed this single belief, allowing possibility to enter his consciousness, the loop shattered. New doors opened, different faces appeared in his path, and time began flowing in fresh patterns. Your timeline is not fixed. With each shift in your energy, each new thought, each conscious choice, you redirect the flow of your experience. The future you fear exists only as long as you remain energetically aligned with that possibility. The future you desire awaits your energetic agreement. When Calvin embraced this truth, his reality transformed, not through external action, but through internal alignment. His story teaches that the power to change your timeline lies not in forcing outer circumstances, but in shifting your inner frequency. Before you rest tonight, lie quietly and envision 2 distinct timelines stretching before you like rivers, flowing into the infinite distance. See clearly the path of fear. Acknowledge it without judgment, observing its twists and shadows as a witness rather than a participant. Then turn your attention to the timeline of your highest vision, the one that resonates with your deepest truth. Feel the reality of this chosen path in every cell of your being, its light, its possibility, its divine alignment with your soul's purpose. Let this feeling be the last sensation in your consciousness as you drift into sleep, knowing that your energy now weaves new patterns in the fabric of time. In these precious moments between waking and dreaming, your power to shape reality is magnified, for you stand at the threshold where thought transforms into manifest form. Chapter 8. The Gatekeepers of Belief. In a library filled with ancient wisdom, Florence moved silently through towering shelves. Each morning she walked the same paths between oak cases, running her fingers along leather spines. Yet something peculiar began to unfold. Books she had never seen before materialized, but only when she truly believed they would appear. You carry within you a similar library of possibility. Your subconscious mind acts as the keeper of these sacred tomes, permitting or restricting access based on your deepest beliefs. What you accept as possible becomes your living truth, while that which you reject remains hidden from view, though it exists all the same. Through generations, you have inherited volumes of limiting beliefs. Like dust gathering on unused books, these beliefs cloud your vision of what is possible. They whisper tales of not enough, impossible, and unworthy. Yet these are merely stories you've been taught to believe, not the eternal truth of who you are. George, a veteran marked by war, believed himself forever damaged. His mind held firmly to this story until one night, in the realm between sleeping and waking, he witnessed himself walking through pure light, whole and complete. This single vision began to rewrite his inner narrative, and his body responded to this new truth, healing in ways the doctors had deemed impossible. The universe cannot deliver what your beliefs reject. When you declare something impossible, you become blind to its presence, though it stands before you. Your beliefs act as filters, allowing or blocking the flow of infinite possibility. The time has come to examine these beliefs that guard your reality. Hold each one to the light and ask, does this serve the highest vision of who I am becoming, or does it merely echo old wounds and forgotten fears? To release these inherited limitations, perform this sacred practice passed down through generations of seekers. Take a single piece of paper and write upon it one belief that no longer serves your evolution. Let your hand move with intention, knowing that each stroke of the pen begins the process of liberation. Light a candle, for fire has long been the element of transformation, and speak these words with reverence. I honor you, old guardian of my safety. You protected me when I needed shelter. Now I release you with gratitude, making space for new truth to emerge. Burn the paper and watch as the flames transmute the old energy. From its ashes, write an empowering truth that will take its place in the library of your consciousness. This new declaration becomes a seed planted in fertile soil, ready to blossom into your expanded reality. Chapter 9. The First Thought and the Ripple. In a small village among ancient hills, Edith rose before dawn each morning to bake bread for her community. Her tiny bakery, passed down through generations, held secrets far deeper than mere recipes. As she worked the dough with practiced hands, a pattern emerged that revealed one of the universe's most powerful truths. You see, when Edith woke with gratitude flowing through her heart, whispering thanks for the new day, her bread would rise in perfect harmony, golden, fragrant, and filled with life-giving energy. Yet on mornings when worry clouded her mind, even following the same recipe precisely, her loaves would emerge burnt or fallen, as if responding to an unseen force. This simple observation unveils a fundamental law of energy. Your first conscious thought of the day sets in motion a cascade of creation, like the initial drop of water that creates ripples across a still pond. Your morning consciousness shapes the quantum field of possibility before any physical action begins. Your mind, in those precious moments between sleep and waking, exists in a highly receptive state. The thoughts you plant in this fertile soil take root with exceptional power, programming the energetic frequency that will resonate throughout your day. Raymond, a soldier who had seen the darkest side of humanity, discovered this truth in his own way. After years of starting each day with memories of war, he began a different practice. Each morning, before his feet touched the ground, he would thank the sky for its vastness and beauty. This simple shift in his first conscious thought began to alter the fabric of his reality. Opportunities appeared. Kindness returned to his life, and peace found its way back into his heart. The morning sets the spell of your day. Just as a conductor raises their baton before the first note is played, your initial thought orchestrates the symphony of experiences to follow. This is not mere metaphor, but quantum mechanics at its most intimate level. To harness this power, craft a morning phrase that resonates with your highest truth, one that stirs your soul and awakens the dormant forces within. Speak it aloud immediately upon waking, before the world's noise can intrude upon your sacred space of creation. Let these words become the first ripples in the infinite ocean of possibility that stretches before you. Record each day's unfolding in a journal for 7 days, noting how reality begins to align with your chosen vibration. Watch closely as synchronicities emerge and circumstances bend to match your morning declaration. This practice, though simple, taps into one of existence's most potent moments of creation, for in those first moments of consciousness you stand at the threshold between dreams and manifestation, between the formless and the formed. Chapter 10. The Ritual of Awakening. In the misty valleys where wisdom whispers through ancient trees, there lived an elder named Doris, who understood the sacred power of dawn. Each morning, as the first light touched the horizon, she would emerge from her dwelling, face turned eastward, and begin her daily chant, a melody that seemed to rise from the earth itself. You now stand at the threshold of understanding how daily ritual becomes the bridge between intention and manifestation. As you witness Doris teaching her young apprentice, you glimpse a truth that has echoed through millennia. Ritual is remembrance. The chant itself was simple, yet it carried the weight of countless dawns, countless ancestors who had sung these same notes into the awakening sky. "This is how we remember who we are," she would tell her apprentice, her voice carrying the certainty of one who had walked long in harmony with universal law. Your journey through the mysteries of energy and attraction now culminates in this essential truth. It is not the grandeur of your spiritual practice that transforms reality, but its consistency. Like water wearing away stone, daily ritual shapes the field of possibility around you. In a village far across the mountains lived Harold, a quiet soul who discovered this same principle through different means. Each morning, before the world stirred to life, he would step into his garden and draw a perfect circle in the earth. This simple act, repeated without fail, became his anchor in chaos. As years passed, others began to notice how storms seemed to calm in his presence, how discord softened around him. Harold had become like the eye of a hurricane, perfectly still while life swirled around him. You see, the power of ritual lies not in its complexity but in its repetition. Each time you perform a sacred act with presence and intention, you strengthen the energetic pathways of manifestation. The universe responds not to the occasional burst of spiritual fervor, but to the steady pulse of conscious practice. Your own awakening now calls for such a ritual, a daily practice that will serve as your energetic signature in the universal field. Through this practice, you will gather all you have learned about vibration, reflection, entanglement, and conscious creation into a single, powerful act of presence. Practice. Create your personal dawn ritual combining these 4 elements. Begin with 3 deep breaths to align with universal energy. Move your body in a way that expresses your intention. Speak a word or phrase that captures your highest truth. Rest in silence for 1 minute, allowing the practice to anchor within. This ritual, performed daily, becomes your energetic signature, your way of remembering who you truly are and declaring your presence in the cosmic dance. Like a master artist signing their work, this practice marks your unique vibration in the universal field, announcing to all creation that you walk in conscious awareness of your divine nature. Part 2, The Path of Inner Alignment. Chapter 11, The Temple of Living Light. In the heart of an ancient village where shadows danced with candlelight, Agnes discovered a truth that would transform her craft forever. Each morning, as she melted wax in her copper cauldron, she began to understand that her true work was not crafting vessels for flame, but vessels for frequency. You now approach one of the most sacred revelations in your journey of manifestation. Your subconscious mind is not merely a storehouse of memories and habits. It is a living temple, radiating the energy you place within it. Like Agnes's carefully poured wax, every thought, emotion, and intention you cultivate takes form in this inner sanctuary. Through years of observation, Agnes noticed that candles poured with joy brought warmth beyond their flame, while those poured in haste carried a different energy entirely. This mirrors the way your subconscious amplifies and broadcasts whatever you plant within it. Each thought you nurture, each emotion you repeat, becomes a frequency that shapes your external reality. Your inner temple requires the same reverence Agnes brought to her craft. When you treat your subconscious as sacred space, clearing away mental debris and intentionally filling it with light, you transform the very foundation of your manifesting power. In a distant city, Norman, an elderly pianist, embodied this wisdom through music. For decades, he played with technical precision, until one evening he began visualizing each note as golden light within his chest. As he filled his inner temple with these radiant tones, something extraordinary occurred. His music began healing those who listened. Without changing a single note, he had transformed his art by first transforming his inner sanctuary. Norman's story reflects your own potential. When you honor your subconscious as the sacred space it is, your outer world naturally aligns with this inner light. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, ripples outward from this temple, touching all aspects of your reality. Practice each night as you prepare for sleep. Enter your inner temple through this sacred visualization. See your subconscious as a vast golden chamber, its walls gleaming with ancient wisdom passed down through countless generations. Notice any dark corners where limiting thoughts and old fears have gathered like dust in forgotten alcoves. With each slow, mindful breath, watch as divine light, pure and crystalline, sweeps through the sacred space, dissolving all that no longer serves your highest purpose. Now, with purposeful intention, light 3 inner candles within this temple of your being. One for gratitude, its flame dancing with appreciation for all that is. One for your highest vision, burning bright with the promise of what shall be. And one for universal love, radiating infinite compassion. Let their warm, transformative glow fill your entire being as you drift peacefully into sleep, knowing your inner temple now radiates this purified energy into all aspects of your life, touching everything you are and everything you shall become. Chapter 12. The Three Locks and the Key of Fire. In a village where iron met spirit, Frances stood before her father's workbench, gazing at three peculiar boxes he had left behind. Each bore markings that seemed to shift in the candlelight, ancient symbols representing fear, doubt, and unworthiness. These were no ordinary locks, but energetic seals that had guarded humanity's greatest treasure, the truth of their divine nature. You now stand where Frances stood, before the three locks that have kept your power dormant. These seals are not physical, but energetic patterns woven into your field through generations of forgetting. The first lock, fear, whispers that you are too small to hold such power. The second, doubt, clouds your vision whenever manifestation begins. The third, unworthiness, suggests you must earn what is already yours by divine right. But within you burns the key of fire, the awakened remembrance of who you truly are. This key is not found, but remembered. It ignites when you recognize yourself as an extension of the infinite, a channel through which universal energy flows without restriction. Each time you catch yourself shrinking from your power, pause. Notice which lock has activated, fear masquerading as practicality, doubt disguising itself as wisdom, or unworthiness cloaked as humility. Your awareness itself begins to melt these ancient seals. In a distant monastery, Leonard lost his connection to the divine after years of preaching others' words instead of his own truth. One night, in the space between sleeping and waking, he found himself holding a key that emanated golden light. As he approached each door in his dream with love rather than force, they opened effortlessly. Upon waking, he understood. Love for one's divine self dissolves all resistance. This key exists within you now. When you embrace your sacred origin, the locks of fear, doubt, and unworthiness begin to dissolve. The power they once contained returns to its rightful home, your awakened heart. Sacred practice. In the hour before sleep, light 3 candles. Let the first flame represent fear, the second doubt, and the third unworthiness. Hold a small object, a crystal, ring, or even an actual key in your hands. As each candle burns, speak to the energy it represents. I release you with gratitude for your protection. I now choose to remember my divine nature. Let the object in your hands absorb the energy of your awakened remembrance, becoming your personal key of fire. Keep this token close as a reminder of your true identity. Chapter 13. The Silence Between Atoms. In the heart of an ancient library where dust motes danced in shafts of morning light, Beverly discovered a room unlike any other. The moment she crossed its threshold, all sound ceased, not muffled or dampened, but transformed into pure stillness. Within this sacred chamber, she found that knowledge flowed not through words on chapters, but through the silence itself. You too possess such a chamber within your being. This void space, this cosmic womb of infinite potential, awaits your recognition. When you step away from the ceaseless chatter of thought and into this hallowed silence, you draw nearest to Source itself. Here in this space between spaces, all creation begins its journey into form. The stillness speaks in a language beyond words. It communicates through pure knowing, through the whispers of your soul. This is not emptiness, but fullness beyond measure. It is the canvas upon which all manifestation paints itself, the field from which all possibility springs forth. Martin, a renowned violinist, lost his gift after an accident left his hands trembling. For months he sat before his instrument, unable to create the music that once flowed through him effortlessly. In desperation, he turned inward, spending hours in meditation. There, in the depths of silence, he first heard it, music more pure than any he had played before. When he finally lifted his bow again, his trembling hands had steadied, and what emerged was not just music but pure light given sound. The silence holds all answers, all possibilities. It is not the absence of sound, but the presence of infinite potential. When you enter this space between your thoughts, between your breaths, you align with the very source of creation itself. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you will remain undisturbed, a sanctuary where the noise of the world cannot reach you. Sit comfortably with your spine straight and your eyes gently closed, allowing your body to settle into a state of peaceful alertness. For 7 minutes, focus your attention on the space between your breaths, the moment of perfect stillness after each exhale and before each inhale. This sacred pause contains universes of possibility. Notice the gaps between your thoughts, those precious moments when the mind falls silent of its own accord. Do not force the silence. Allow it to reveal itself naturally, like morning dew appearing on grass. Let each breath become a gateway to deeper awareness. This is your daily communion with the void, where all creation begins, where the seeds of your desires first take root in fertile cosmic soil. In this space of infinite potential, you align with the very source of manifestation itself. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Frequency of the Word. In the heart of an ancient library where dust motes danced in shafts of morning light, Beverly discovered a room unlike any other. The moment she crossed its threshold, all sound ceased, not muffled or dampened, but transformed into pure stillness. Within this sacred chamber, she found that knowledge flowed not through words on chapters, but through the silence itself. You too possess such a chamber within your being. This void space, this cosmic womb of infinite potential, awaits your recognition. When you step away from the ceaseless chatter of thought and into this hallowed silence, you draw nearest to Source itself. Here, in this space between spaces, all creation begins its journey into form. The stillness speaks in a language beyond words. It communicates through pure knowing, through the whispers of your soul. This is not emptiness, but fullness beyond measure. It is the canvas upon which all manifestation paints itself, the field from which all possibility springs forth. Martin, a renowned violinist, lost his gift after an accident left his hands trembling. For months, he sat before his instrument, unable to create the music that once flowed through him effortlessly. In desperation, he turned inward, spending hours in meditation. There, in the depths of silence, he first heard it, music more pure than any he had played before. When he finally lifted his bow again, his trembling hands had steadied, and what emerged was not just music but pure light-given sound. The silence holds all answers, all possibilities. It is not the absence of sound, but the presence of infinite potential. Just as Martin discovered his true music in stillness, you will find your own truth in these sacred moments of quiet communion with Source. Sacred practice, the void's whisper. Find a quiet space where you will remain undisturbed for 7 minutes. Sit comfortably with your spine straight and eyes closed. Begin to notice your breath, not changing it, simply observing. As you breathe, turn your attention to the spaces between each breath. Notice the pause between the inhale and exhale. Between each thought, there exists a moment of pure silence. Rest your awareness in these spaces. Let the void speak to you through its sacred stillness. Practice this daily, allowing the wisdom of silence to guide your path. Chapter 15. The Chalice of Magnetic Light. In a humble inn where shadows dance on wooden beams, Mabel serves tea with hands that never shake. Those who sit at her tables speak of warmth that spreads not from their cups, but from within their very being. The secret, she whispers, lies not in the temperature, but in the intention poured with love. Your heart beats as the sacred chalice of creation, a magnetic vessel more powerful than any thought could ever be. Within its chambers flows the true elixir of manifestation, pure feeling. While the mind may architect dreams, it is the heart that breathes life into them, transforming ethereal possibility into tangible reality. The Codex awakens not through intellectual understanding alone, but through the living current of emotion. When you align your heart's frequency with your desired reality, you become a lighthouse of magnetic attraction. Each beat sends ripples through the quantum field, drawing to you that which matches your inner state. To manifest is to feel as though your desire already exists. Let your heart overflow with the joy, gratitude, and love that your fulfilled wish naturally evokes. These emotions are not responses to reality. They are the very substance from which reality is shaped. Harrison, once a soldier who knew only the harsh rhythms of war, discovered this truth in an unexpected way. Each morning, he would sit in his barren garden and simply feel the joy of flowers in bloom. He would close his eyes and let his heart swell with the simple pleasure of their imagined beauty. Days passed, and shoots began to break through soil that had been declared infertile. Within weeks, blossoms appeared, perfect mirrors of those he had felt in his heart. Your heart knows no limitations of time or space. It speaks directly to the universal field, transmuting emotional energy into physical form. What you feel with unwavering clarity, you call into being. Practice. Heart activation. Sit quietly and place your right hand over your heart center, feeling the gentle rhythm of life pulsing beneath your palm. Breathe deeply into this sacred space, allowing each conscious breath to soften and dissolve any resistance you carry. For 3 minutes, generate and sustain a feeling of pure gratitude, love, or joy, whichever resonates most strongly in this moment. Let this emotion fill your entire being, radiating outward from your chest like ripples on still water, as though your heart were a chalice, overflowing with golden light. Feel this divine energy expanding through every cell, every atom of your body. This practice attunes your magnetic center to the frequency of that which you wish to manifest, creating an irresistible force that draws your desires into physical form through the ancient law of resonance. Chapter 16. The Echo of Sacred Repetition. In a village where dreams were as common as morning dew, Sylvia sat at her wooden table each dawn, threading her needle with practiced grace. Into every garment she crafted, from simple shawls to wedding gowns, she wove the same ancient symbol, a spiral that seemed to catch the light in unusual ways. Her fingers moved with certainty, each stitch a prayer, each garment a vessel of intention. You must understand that repetition holds power beyond mere habit. As Sylvia's needlework spread throughout the village, something extraordinary began to unfold. Those who wore her garments started sharing the same dream, a vision of golden light spiraling upward, carrying their deepest wishes into manifestation. The universe responds to rhythm, to patterns that pulse with unwavering faith. Each repetition of thought, word, or action creates a groove in the cosmic field, deepening your connection to the infinite. Like waves upon the shore, it is not a single thought that reshapes reality, but the consistent return of intention that carves new channels in the bedrock of existence. Arthur, the village clockmaker, discovered this truth in his own way. Each morning, as he wound the town's timepieces, he would chant softly, "Time flows as I decree." At first, nothing changed, but as days turned to weeks and weeks to months, the townspeople began to notice curious things. Important meetings would stretch when more time was needed, yet compress when haste was required. Deadlines that once seemed impossible became manageable, as if time itself had learned to dance to Arthur's rhythm. His story teaches us that time, like all universal forces, responds to the depth of our energetic imprint. Through devoted repetition, Arthur had tuned the very fabric of reality to his intention. The sacred act of repetition is not mindless recitation, but conscious imprinting upon the quantum field. When you commit to a practice, be it mantra, movement, or meditation, you are not merely repeating but resonating with increasing power. Sacred practice. Choose one mantra that embodies your deepest intention. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Using prayer beads or simply your focused breath, speak your chosen mantra aloud 108 times each day for 7 days. Record any shifts in energy, synchronicities, or manifestations that arise. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in your unwavering devotion to their vibration. Chapter 17. The Mirror of Initiation. Deep within the Earth's embrace, where darkness held ancient secrets, Emmett discovered a truth that would transform your understanding of life's mysteries. Each day he descended into the mind's depths, his hands calloused from years of labor, his spirit weighted by loss. Yet it was in this very darkness that light revealed itself in the most unexpected way. You see, when tears fell from Emmett's eyes, tears of grief for his departed wife, something miraculous occurred. A crystal materialized in the cold face before him, glowing with an inner radiance that defied explanation. Only in moments of raw emotion, when his heart lay bare, would this sacred stone reveal itself. What you perceive as hardship carries within it a hidden invitation. Every challenge that rises to meet you is not a punishment, but a gateway to awakening. Your struggles are sacred initiations, each one precisely crafted to unveil a dormant power within your soul. Consider Viola, whose world plunged into darkness when illness claimed her sight. In the initial depths of despair, she fought against her new reality. But as days turned to weeks, something extraordinary emerged. Her dreams began to pulse with visions of startling clarity. What appeared as loss became a doorway to deeper perception. Through her surrender, she gained access to realms of knowledge that her physical eyes had never perceived. Your challenges are not random acts of cruelty by an indifferent universe. They are encoded messages, each one carrying a gift wrapped in the guise of adversity. When you resist what life presents, you remain blind to the transformation being offered. But when you open yourself to the wisdom hidden within your wounds, every obstacle reveals its purpose as a catalyst for growth. The key lies not in what happens to you, but in how you choose to meet it. Each tear can become a crystal of insight, each loss a portal to expanded awareness. Your response to life's initiations determines what they will reveal. Sacred practice. In silence, take paper and pen. Write down a challenge that has shaped your path, whether present or past. Close your eyes and breathe deeply into your heart center, allowing each breath to carry you deeper into a space of sacred understanding. Ask yourself, what gift is this difficulty inviting me to claim? Let your intuition speak without judgment or resistance. Feel the wisdom rising from the depths of your being. Now write a letter of gratitude to this challenge, acknowledging its role in your evolution. Begin with the words, "I honor you as my teacher." Pour your heart onto the page, recognizing how this obstacle has strengthened your spirit and expanded your consciousness. Let the words flow naturally, expressing appreciation for the growth this challenge has catalyzed within you. Trust that in this act of acknowledgement, you open yourself to even greater transformation. Chapter 18. The Devotion Current. In a small town where autumn leaves danced eternally, Eugene shouldered his weathered mailbag each morning, his footsteps marking a path to a destination that existed only in his heart. Where others saw an empty lot overgrown with wildflowers, he saw the faded blue house that once stood there, its mailbox still receiving his daily deliveries. You might wonder at the wisdom of such dedication, delivering letters to a home that has long since returned to earth. Yet Eugene's unwavering devotion carried a power that transcended physical reality. Each letter he placed in that invisible mailbox was more than paper and ink. It was an act of pure faith, a quantum thread connecting the seen and unseen worlds. Through Eugene's story, you glimpse the hidden mechanics of manifestation. Devotion is not mere repetition, but a sacred current of focused love that shapes reality itself. When you direct your energy consistently toward any point in the universal field, that point begins to pulse with potential, drawing forth the very essence of your intention. In another part of town lived Lillian, whose piano notes floated through the evening air like prayers. Every sunset without fail, she played the same melody, a song that held memories of someone beloved now beyond the veil. Others might have called it futile, this daily offering of music to empty air, but Lillian knew better. Her devotion created a bridge across dimensions, and one night, in the depths of dream, her loved one appeared, bearing wisdom that would illuminate her path forward. These tales reveal a fundamental truth. Devotion is the invisible force that quickens manifestation into being. It is not about desperate pleading or anxious repetition. Rather, it is about maintaining an unwavering connection to your intention, infused with love and certainty. Like Eugene's daily deliveries and Lillian's sunset serenades, your devoted practice becomes a beacon, calling forth that which you seek. Sacred practice. Choose one simple spiritual act that resonates with your soul. Perhaps it is lighting a candle at dawn, speaking a blessing over water, or humming a particular tone. Perform this act daily, infusing each moment with pure love and presence. Let your practice become a signal to the universe of your unwavering devotion. Do not concern yourself with results. Simply pour your heart into each repetition, knowing that devotion itself is a form of magic. Chapter 19. The Pendulum of Thought and Fire. In a time-worn workshop filled with the rhythmic whispers of countless clocks, Curtis studied the eternal dance of pendulums. Each morning, he would arrive before his master, watching the golden weights swing in their measured arcs. Yet one particular dawn brought an awakening that would transform his understanding of time itself. You see, as Curtis sat in meditation among the timepieces, he noticed something extraordinary. When his thoughts drifted listlessly, the pendulum seemed to move with mechanical detachment. But in moments when his mind and heart aligned in perfect harmony, when both his thoughts and feelings focused on the same intention, the pendulums appeared to swing with newfound vigor, as if responding to an unseen force. This revelation mirrors one of the most vital truths of energetic creation. Thought and emotion must move as one. Like the two weights of a pendulum, they create momentum only when swinging in perfect synchronicity. When your logical mind envisions abundance while your emotional body harbors fear of lack, you create discord in the universal field. This misalignment halts the natural flow of manifestation. Consider how often you may have held beautiful visions in your mind while your heart trembled with doubt. Or perhaps you felt the fire of desire burning within, yet your thoughts remain clouded with uncertainty. This discord is like a pendulum trying to swing in opposite directions. No momentum can build, no power can gather. In a distant valley, young Alma discovered this same truth among her father's fields. Each season, she would walk the rows of earth, not only picturing the crops in full bloom, but allowing her heart to overflow with joy at their abundance. She learned to dance among the seedlings, celebrating their growth before the first green shoots appeared. To her father's amazement, the fields under her care flourished beyond all others. The plants responded not just to her vision of their potential, but to the genuine delight she felt in their becoming. Her thoughts of abundance and her feelings of gratitude moved together, like perfectly balanced weights, creating a force that called forth life from the soil. Your power to shape reality follows this same principle. When you align your thoughts and emotions, when your mind's vision harmonizes with your heart's song, you create an unstoppable momentum in the quantum field. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Close your eyes and bring to mind one pure desire. As you hold this vision, consciously generate its matching emotional frequency. If you seek abundance, feel the warmth of gratitude. If you desire love, let your heart swell with giving. Hold this unified state for 3 minutes, allowing thought and feeling to swing together like a perfect pendulum. Chapter 20. The Alchemist's Discipline. In the depths of winter, where shadows linger longest, there lived an artist named Douglas who understood a truth you are now ready to embrace: the power of sacred repetition. Each morning, as dawn's first light pierced the darkness, Douglas would sit before his easel and paint the same golden spiral, a perfect mathematical sequence that echoes through all of creation. You might wonder why one would paint the same pattern day after day. Yet within this dedication lay a profound secret. Spiritual alchemy occurs not in grand gestures, but in the quiet persistence of daily practice. As Douglas painted, his humble cottage began to emanate a strange golden light, visible first in the corners of his vision, then gradually filling every shadow with its ethereal glow. The universe speaks through such devoted action. Every stroke of Douglas's brush was both prayer and proclamation, ritual and remembrance. Through his unwavering commitment, he transformed his home into a temple of living light. This truth stands before you now. You are not merely a seeker of wisdom, but an alchemist of the sacred. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions are the elements you transmute daily. Every affirmation spoken with conviction, every visualization held with clarity, every ritual performed with presence, these are the instruments of your transformation. In a city far from Douglas's glowing cottage, there lived a woman named Marjorie, who kept a simple leather-bound book. Within its chapters, she recorded every prayer, every intention, every small miracle that manifested in her life. What began as a humble practice became a testament to the power of conscious documentation. As her logbook filled with evidence of answered prayers, her faith grew stronger, her manifesting power more precise. The time has come for you to step fully into your role as keeper of the Codex. Your daily practices are not mere exercises, they are sacred ceremonies of transformation. Each morning's meditation, each written affirmation, each moment of intentional silence weaves together to create the fabric of your new reality. Let the Codex journal become your alchemist's vessel. Within its chapters, Record your visions and their manifestations, your intentions and their fulfillment, your prayers and their answers. This is not mere journaling, it is the conscious documentation of your spiritual metamorphosis. Practice. Create your Codex journal as a sacred record of your spiritual alchemy. Each day, document your visualizations, affirmations, and rituals. Note the subtle shifts in your reality, the synchronicities that appear, the manifestations that unfold. Let this journal become both witness and catalyst to your transformation. As you write, know that each entry is an act of power, each page a testament to your evolution as a master of energy and form. Part 3, The Codex Revealed. Chapter 21, The Architect of Light. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the veil between worlds grows thin, Loretta would find herself drawn from sleep by an irresistible force. Her hands, weathered by decades of precision engineering, would move across paper with otherworldly certainty, crafting blueprints that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. You now stand at the threshold of understanding that every moment of your existence is an act of sacred architecture. Your thoughts are not mere musings. They are the foundational beams upon which your reality is constructed. Your beliefs are not simple opinions. They are the load-bearing pillars that determine what structures can manifest in your life. The subconscious mind is your divine blueprint room, where every detail of your future takes shape before emerging into physical form. Each night as you sleep, like Loretta, you are drawing the plans of tomorrow. Every image you hold, every emotion you cultivate, every expectation you harbor becomes a specification in the universal blueprint of your life. In a small workshop at the edge of town, Bert spent his evenings carefully crafting wooden models. His hands, guided by dreams rather than plans, shaped miniature rooms and doorways with meticulous care. He did not know that each curve of wood, each carefully joined corner, was sending ripples through the quantum field. Months passed, and what began as a dream manifested through an unexpected inheritance. The very home he had shaped in miniature now stood in full dimension before him. Your life is not happening to you. It is being architected through you. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every feeling you nurture, is being registered in the blueprint room of your subconscious mind. The universe then follows these plans with unwavering precision. Practice. Create your own blueprint board, a sacred architectural drawing of your designed life. Gather images, words, and symbols that represent not what you hope for, but what you know is being built. Place this board where you will see it daily, understanding that you are not wishing. You are witnessing the plans that the universal constructor is already following. This is not a vision board of dreams, but a blueprint of certainty. Let every element you choose vibrate with the frequency of completion. For just as an architect does not question whether their design will manifest, you must approach your blueprint with unwavering conviction. Select each image with the same care and precision as a master builder, selecting the finest materials. When you look upon your board each morning and evening, know that these are not mere pictures. They are the quantum specifications from which the universe is already crafting your reality. Chapter 22, The Entanglement of Divine Desire. In a garden where morning mist lingered like ancient memories, Claudia knelt in the soft earth, her hands moving with the wisdom of one who understood nature's secret language. With each rose she planted, she whispered not just to the flower, but to the vast intelligence that flows through all things. You must understand that desire in its purest form is not the ache of absence, but the pulse of creation itself. When Claudia buried her wishes alongside her roses, she wasn't merely hoping. She was engaging in quantum dialogue. The soil became her messenger, the roots of her living prayer. The universe speaks through synchronicity, through the seemingly random echoes of your deepest truth. As Claudia tended her garden, customers would enter her shop and speak fragments of her own dreams, their words carrying the resonance of her planted intentions. They knew not why they spoke of distant shores or moonlit dances, yet through them, the field confirmed. Her desires were heard, acknowledged, already in motion. In the depths of winter, in a city far from Claudia's garden, young Victor huddled in his orphanage bed, holding a single wish close to his heart. He didn't wish for wealth or fame. His desire was pure, elementally simple, to feel chosen, to belong. This desire, uncluttered by doubt or specification, rang like a clear bell through the quantum field. One morning, as snow fell in perfect silence, a stranger arrived at the orphanage. Their eyes met Victor's with instant recognition, and the visitor spoke words that revealed the sacred mechanics of aligned desire. "I was called here. I've been looking for you without knowing it was you I sought." Your desires are not random impulses or products of lack. They are sacred communications, quantum entanglements seeking completion. When you desire from this pure place, you activate a two-way current. The universe is not only receiving your signal, but has already begun moving toward you. The practice of sacred desire. Take a moment of silence and allow your truest desire to surface. Not what you think you should want, but what calls to you from the depths of your being. Write this desire on a small piece of paper with absolute clarity. Place it in a pouch or locket you can carry close to your heart. Each time you touch this token, know that your desire is not a wish cast into void, but a living seed already seeking its counterpart in the vast field of potential. Your role is not to force its growth, but to tend it with the quiet certainty of a gardener who understands the inevitable miracle of germination. Chapter 23, The Unseen Hand of Power. In the quiet dawn, when the world still whispers its ancient secrets, you will discover a truth that has guided the wise through countless generations. Let this story illuminate the path before you. Among the fertile fields where life springs eternal, there lived a farmer named Dennis, who discovered the most powerful fertilizer was not found in any earthly substance. Each morning, before the sun touched the horizon, he would walk among his crops, his heart radiating waves of pure love toward every living thing that grew from his soil. Where others poured chemicals, he poured intention. Where others fought against nature, he aligned with its wisdom. You see, the universe responds not to force, but to frequency. The crops beneath Dennis's loving attention began to flourish beyond explanation, their growth defying conventional understanding. His neighbors watched in amazement as his harvest doubled, then tripled, without the aid of modern agriculture's harsh methods. Through Dennis's experience, you begin to grasp that power flows not from doing, but from being. When you release the need to control through physical means, you tap into the invisible current that has orchestrated life since the beginning of time. This truth found its echo in the gentle hands of Shirley, a nurse who discovered that healing flowed most powerfully through presence rather than procedure. In the quiet moments between her rounds, she would stand beside each patient's bed, offering nothing but the pure blessing of her aligned heart. Those in her care began to heal with unprecedented speed, their recovery rates mystifying the hospital staff. What these stories reveal is not mere coincidence, but universal law. The most profound changes occur not through striving, but through conscious stillness. When you align your energy with the outcome you seek, You allow the infinite intelligence of the universe to work through you rather than forcing your will upon it. Sacred practice. Each day find a space of undisturbed quiet, a sanctuary where you can retreat from the world's constant motion. For 5 minutes, practice silent sending, directing pure, loving energy toward one person or project in your life that calls to your heart. Make no physical effort. Simply allow your heart's natural radiance to flow outward like a lighthouse beacon across calm waters. This is not a doing, but a being, a state of perfect alignment with the universe's infinite wisdom. Let your intention move through the quantum field like sunlight through clear glass, touching everything in its path with transformative power. As you maintain this practice, you will discover that your energy becomes increasingly refined, your presence more potent, and your ability to effect positive change more profound with each passing day. Chapter 24. The Dissolving of the Veil. In the depths of night, when boundaries blur and possibilities whisper through the shadows, you will encounter a truth that transcends the limitations of perceived reality. A night guard named Ernest patrolled the empty halls of an ancient building, his footsteps echoing through corridors steeped in silence. One night, in the realm between sleeping and waking, he dreamed of walking through a solid wall. Upon awakening, he carried not just the memory, but the knowing. He had done more than dream. The wall had yielded, not to force, but to his momentary release of disbelief. The universe operates not through rigid laws, but through the fluidity of consciousness. What appears solid is merely energy held in place by collective agreement. Your beliefs are the architects of your limitations, and similarly, they are the keys to your liberation. Consider Pearl, who had carried the weight of bad luck like an inherited crown. For years, this belief cast shadows across every opportunity, until one morning she chose to lay it down. She stopped telling the story of her misfortune. She ceased identifying with limitation. As if by magic, though it was by law, her world transformed. Doors that seemed locked swung open. Opportunities that once passed her by now paused to greet her. The only thing that had changed was her relationship with possibility. You see, the veil between you and your desires is woven from threads of doubt, maintained by habits of thought that insist on separation. This veil appears solid only through persistent belief in its existence. When you release these beliefs, reality reveals itself as malleable, responsive to the frequency of your consciousness. The practice. In sacred stillness, stand before an imagined threshold of light. Close your eyes and feel the warmth of this luminous doorway. See yourself stepping through this portal into the version of reality where your desires already exist. Feel the shift in your energy as you cross this threshold. Breathe in the atmosphere of this realized reality. Let your body absorb the frequency of fulfillment. Return through the threshold, carrying this resonance. This practice dissolves the illusory barrier between you and your desires. Chapter 25. The Observer's Light. In the shadows of an old theater where reality bends and dreams take flight, you will discover the sacred power of observation, how your gaze shapes the very fabric of existence. Ralph, a humble stagehand, moved silently through the theater's wings each night, ensuring props were in place for the next day's performance. Over time, he noticed something extraordinary. Whichever scene captured his attention most deeply began to shift and transform before the actors took their places. A garden scene he admired would sprout real flowers between the painted ones. A stormy backdrop would gather actual clouds when he studied its patterns. Your attention, like Ralph's, carries creative force. When you focus with intention and awareness, you activate the quantum field of infinite possibility. Through your conscious observation, dormant potentials spring to life, much as Ralph's favorite scenes blossomed under his watchful eye. Nancy, a portrait artist working in a small studio downtown, discovered this same truth through her brushstrokes. Rather than capturing her subjects as they appeared before her, she began painting them as they longed to be, more confident, more peaceful, more alive with purpose. As weeks passed, her subjects unconsciously transformed to match their portraits, their lives aligning with the potential she had witnessed and honored through her art. Through Nancy's story, you glimpse a profound truth. When you observe someone or something through the lens of love and possibility, you offer a blessing that ripples through the quantum field. Your gaze becomes a bridge between what is and what could be. The power of observation extends beyond mere watching. It is an act of conscious co-creation with the universe. When you look upon any aspect of your life with clear intention and loving awareness, you initiate a sacred dialogue with the field of all possibility. Sacred practice. Choose one area of your life that calls for transformation. Each morning, find a quiet space and close your eyes. For 5 minutes, observe this aspect of your life bathed in golden light. See it not as it currently appears, but as it exists in its highest form, whole, complete, radiating with divine perfection. Let your loving attention rest upon this vision, knowing that your conscious observation is already creating change in the quantum field. Chapter 26. The Dream's Secret Door. In the depths of night, when consciousness slips between worlds, the Codex speaks through the language of dreams. Through this ancient gateway, wisdom flows freely, unbound by the constraints of waking logic. Wendell, keeper of the night watch, began noticing peculiar occurrences. Each morning, he would wake in places he had only traversed in his dreams. Beneath the old oak tree, beside the village well, or near the stone circle at the edge of town. At first, he dismissed these experiences as mere coincidence. Yet as the pattern continued, he realized his dreams were not random wanderings but purposeful journeys, guiding him toward hidden truths. Your dreams, like Wendell's nocturnal adventures, are not meaningless fragments of imagination. They are encrypted messages from the universal field, offering guidance for your journey. When you dream, you access a dimension where time flows differently, where symbols speak louder than words, and where the Codex reveals its mysteries most clearly. Joan, who baked bread in the village square, received such wisdom through her dreams. One night she dreamed of mixing honey with sage, adding 3 drops of rose water, and baking under a full moon. Upon waking, rather than dismissing this vision, she followed its instruction precisely. The bread she created became renowned throughout the region, bringing unexpected prosperity and recognition. Her dream had transmitted not just a recipe but a key to abundance. Through Joan's experience, you glimpse the practical power of dream wisdom. The symbols and scenarios that appear in your dreams are not random. They are carefully crafted communications from your higher self, encoded in the universal language of metaphor and meaning. Dreams serve as bridges between your conscious desires and the infinite potential of the quantum field. They offer solutions to challenges, reveal hidden opportunities, and align you with favorable possibilities. When you honor these nocturnal messages, you open yourself to guidance that transcends ordinary understanding. Sacred practice. Begin a Codex dream book, keeping it beside your bed for 14 days. Upon waking, record every dream detail you remember, no matter how seemingly insignificant. Rather than seeking logical interpretations, allow your intuition to reveal the meaning of dream symbols. Notice patterns, recurring themes, and emotional resonance. Trust that each dream carries a message perfectly crafted for your journey. Through this practice, you strengthen your connection to the Codex's infinite wisdom, allowing it to guide you through the language of dreams. Chapter 27. The Speaking Mirror. In the sacred art of manifestation, the universe speaks not in thunderous proclamations, but through whispers, signs, and synchronicities. These messages surround you constantly, waiting to be recognized by an awakened heart. Miles, whose small barbershop stood at the corner of two winding streets, discovered this truth through an antique mirror that hung on his wall. Each morning, he would speak his heart's desires to this reflective surface, treating it as a confidant. At first, he thought nothing of this ritual until patterns began emerging. A casual mention of wanting to expand his business was followed by a chance encounter with a retiring barber selling his equipment. When he spoke of learning new techniques, a master stylist appeared in his shop the very next day. The universe, you see, maintains a constant dialogue with your consciousness. Every thought you release into the field returns as circumstance, coincidence, or meaningful encounter. These are not random events, but the language of universal intelligence responding to your energy. Opal, who lived in a cottage by the sea, learned to read this sacred language through feathers. After each morning prayer, she would find a feather along her path, white ones when she sought clarity, blue when she needed peace, and brown when earthly matters required attention. Rather than dismissing these as chance occurrences, she began following their trail. Each feather led her to precisely what she needed: a conversation, an opportunity, or a moment of insight. Your life speaks to you in similar ways. Every coincidence carries a message. Every pattern holds meaning. Every synchronicity offers guidance. The universe mirrors back your intentions through a sophisticated language of signs, symbols, and meaningful encounters. When you learn to listen, truly listen to this divine dialogue, life becomes a sacred conversation. Every moment holds potential for revelation. Every encounter may carry the answer you seek. The key lies not in forcing meaning, but in remaining open to the subtle ways spirit communicates. The practice: create a synchronicity journal. For 7 days, record 3 meaningful coincidences, patterns, or signs that appear in your daily life. Write them without judgment or interpretation. Note your initial thoughts or feelings, the time they occurred, and any circumstances surrounding them. After the week concludes, review your entries. You will begin to see patterns emerge, the universe's response to your energy, thoughts, and prayers. This practice trains your consciousness to recognize the constant communication between your inner world and the field of infinite possibility. Chapter 28. The Spiral of Mastery. In the depths of an ancient concert hall, Ethel sat alone each year on the winter solstice, her violin tucked beneath her chin. The melody she played remained unchanged, notes written centuries ago by a composer whose name had long since faded. Yet with each passing year the song transformed, not through any alteration of its structure, but through the evolution of her own being. You too carry within you this sacred spiral of growth. What appears as repetition in your life, returning to old dreams, revisiting past challenges, encountering familiar patterns, is actually ascension. Each turn of the spiral lifts you higher, offering a new perspective on what once seemed familiar. The universe operates not in circles but in spirals. When you find yourself facing what appears to be the same situation, remember, you stand at a different elevation. Your consciousness has expanded. Your wisdom has deepened. Your very cells vibrate at a higher frequency than before. Franklin understood this truth only after years of perceived failure. His first business venture had collapsed beneath the weight of his desperate striving. A decade later, he found himself drawn back to the same idea, but this time he approached it with the serenity of one who had learned to trust the spiral. Where once he had pushed against the current, now he flowed with it. His success emerged not from doing things differently, but from being different. You see, the Codex teaches that mastery is not about avoiding repetition, it is about embracing it with awareness. Each return carries the potential for deeper understanding, greater alignment, more profound integration. What you once saw as failure was simply an earlier turn of the spiral, preparing you for this moment of greater awareness. When you encounter old patterns or revisit past dreams, resist the urge to judge them as stagnation. Instead, notice how you have changed. Feel how your relationship to these experiences has transformed. This is the sacred spiral at work. Practice. Sacred spiral integration. Find a quiet space where you can reflect undisturbed. Bring to mind what you once labeled a failure in your life. Hold this memory not with judgment, but with the compassion of one who sees from a higher vantage point. Write down 3 ways this experience shaped your growth. What wisdom did it plant within you? What strength did it forge? What understanding did it give birth to? Now, sitting in stillness, visualize this past experience as a single turn in an upward spiral. See yourself standing at a higher point, looking down at that moment with new eyes. Speak aloud. I bless this turn of the spiral, for it has lifted me higher. Chapter 29, The Great Alignment. In a sunlit room overlooking ancient gardens, Edna's hand moved across parchment with ethereal grace. Each stroke of her pen carried more than ink. It channeled pure energy into form. The glyphs she created seemed to pulse with living light, as if each symbol held within it a sacred code waiting to be awakened. You now stand at this same threshold of creation. Through your journey with this codex, you have learned that reality itself is a living language, responding to the harmony of your inner state. When thought, emotion, belief, and action align like perfectly tuned instruments, the universe cannot help but echo your song. Watch how Edna's symbols began appearing in unexpected places, in the morning frost on her window, in the arrangement of leaves beneath her feet, in the patterns of birds across the evening sky. The universe reflected back to her what she had written in the language of pure consciousness. This is the final teaching of the Codex. When you achieve complete alignment, reality itself becomes your mirror. Walter discovered this truth through his own transformation. Where once he walked hunched beneath the weight of fear and doubt, he began moving through the world as if already embodying his highest vision. His shoulders straightened, his voice carried quiet authority, his eyes held steady confidence. He did not pretend or perform. He simply allowed his inner knowing to express itself through every gesture, every choice, every interaction. And as his inner world stabilized in this new frequency, the outer world had no choice but to conform. You have always held this power. The Codex has not given you anything new. It has simply reminded you of what you have always known. When thought, emotion, belief, and action align with your deepest truth, you become a living embodiment of creation itself. Sacred practice. Take a blank page and draw a circle, dividing it into 4 quarters. In each quarter, write your current dominant thought, feeling, belief, and action. Study these 4 elements carefully. Where do they harmonize? Where do they conflict? If any quarter does not align with the reality you wish to create, adjust it until all 4 elements sing the same note. This is your alignment circle, a living map of your creative power. Chapter 30. You are the Codex. In the velvet darkness of a summer night, Betty sits beneath a tapestry of stars, her silver hair catching starlight. Where once she pleaded with the cosmos for answers, she now rests in the profound simplicity of remembrance. "I remember," she whispers, and the stars seem to pulse in recognition. You have arrived at this same sacred moment of remembering. Through each chapter of this journey, you have not been learning, but awakening to what your soul has always known. The Codex is not separate from you. It never was. You are the living manuscript, your very essence encoded with the wisdom of ages. Every breath you take is a line of sacred text. Every heartbeat pulses with divine intelligence. Your thoughts shape reality not because of technique or practice, but because that is your natural state of being. You are pure consciousness expressing itself through form. Witness how Clarence, who once armored himself with doubt, underwent this transformation. He did not study his way to enlightenment or force himself to believe. Instead, he simply allowed the walls of resistance to dissolve, revealing the light that had always lived within. Now, those who enter his presence feel their own inner knowing stir to life. His peace is not learned, it is remembered. This is your inheritance, to stand fully in your power as a living embodiment of universal law. The parables, teachings, and practices throughout this codex have served as keys, unlocking what was always there. You are not becoming something new. You are returning to your original state of being. Let these words settle into your bones. You are not reading an ancient text. You are the text itself, written in stardust and spirit, expressing divine law through your very existence. Every circumstance in your life is responding not to what you do, but to what you are. The practice is stand beneath the stars or in a quiet space and speak these words with the authority of your soul. I am the Codex of living energy. Feel the truth of this statement in every cell of your being. Then take pen to paper and write your own parable. One paragraph that tells the story of your life lived in complete alignment with this knowledge. Write it in present tense, as if it is already unfolding. This is not an exercise in imagination. It is your soul speaking its truth through you. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion: you have crossed a sacred threshold. Where once you sought wisdom in these chapters, you now recognize that the Codex was always a mirror, reflecting back your own infinite nature. Each teaching, each practice, each moment of insight has led you to this profound remembrance. You are not separate from the power you seek. The journey through these chapters has awakened you to the living current of energy that flows through all things. You understand now that manifestation is not about forcing change, but about aligning with the natural power that already exists within you. Your thoughts shape reality not through effort, but through resonance with the quantum field that responds to your every vibration. This recognition changes everything. You no longer need to chase transformation. You are the transformer. You no longer need to seek alignment. You are the aligner. The practices and principles shared in these chapters were never meant to give you power, but to remind you of the power you have always possessed. From this moment forward, your path is not about learning, but about being. Each breath you take is a declaration of your divine nature. Each thought you think ripples through the fabric of reality. Each feeling you cultivate shapes the field of infinite possibility that surrounds you. You are no longer a seeker looking for answers. You are the answer itself, awakened to your true nature as a conscious creator in partnership with the universe. The Codex has served its purpose, not by teaching you something new, but by helping you remember something eternal. Let every step you take from this moment forward be infused with this knowledge. You are the living Codex, the embodiment of these sacred principles. Your presence alone is enough to shift the energy of any space you enter. Your clarity is enough to reshape reality. Your awakened consciousness is enough to manifest your highest vision. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.